And for more detail on the suspension of the implementation of the 15% VAT on imported petroleum products, I'm joined by Festus Osifo. He's the president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I know you've had a long day. You had an event earlier and you're here.
Yeah,
thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So first, let me get your take on the decision by the federal government through the NMDPRA to suspend the tax, because initially the TUC had kicked against it. In fact, you described it as a no-no. Now it's been suspended. How are you reacting to this?
Yeah, the suspension did not just come by fluke. We knew over the weekend that it's going to be suspended. We were assured over the weekend that it would be suspended. You know, these are some of the things that we do behind the scene. You know, Nigerians always expect us to be on the street shouting. You know, we always say that for every single time we go on the street, there are 10 or 20 decisions that we've discussed on the table to the favor of the working class and also to the betterment of Nigerians. I will tell you what happened clearly at this one. So when these, when the 15% was announced, so in Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, from the National Secretariat, we moved into motion. We've had several meetings, several discussions, both from the highest echelon of security to those that are managing the economy. We even met some governors to lobby them, to discuss with them, and to tell them what is going to happen if the 15% is implemented. Let me quickly explain to Nigerians how this would have worked. You said about 99 naira or thereabout. No,
almost 100 naira.
It's much more, because if the landing cost today is about, if PMS today is sold around 850 naira plus.
Depending on where you're buying from.
Yes, but 15% on that is going to give us over 130 naira. So this is the catch. Today, you are imposing 15% on import, right?
Yes.
Now, currently, the local refineries and the local production is at best at about 40%. So what that means is that we are bringing in over 60% into the country of our daily consumption. So if the 15% was allowed to stand, what would have happened was that that 15% would have been on the imported product. So once you slam that 15% on imported product, the pump price is going to increase by over 130 naira. And once that pump price increases, those producing locally will tend to also move their price upward. So at the end, you are going to have the price moving upward. So now, Dangote Refinery, I mean, we are very, very excited to have Dangote Refinery in Nigeria. We are very, very excited to be producing PMS in Nigeria. But unfortunately, as of today, they are doing between 35 to about 40% of our daily consumption. These are data from NMDPRA. So immediately government made that announcement. We went to NMDPRA, we obtained their data. We tried to check, we tried to evaluate. When we check the data from NMDPRA, we realized that we are importing over 60% of our daily consumption. So that was an issue. If, for example, today, we are producing up to 90% of our local, of our production, of our local consumption in Nigeria, the government can even slam even more than 15%. But because of where we are today, that challenge is going to be, or the extra cost will be transferred to Nigerians. But let me explain something that Nigerians must understand as well. Very quickly. This one. I work for Total Energies Upstream. I have been fortunate to have worked in a free trade zone. In a free trade zone, you import materials, but you don't pay tax. So I worked in ONE for about 2 years for Total, the particular unit in Total Energies Upstream. You import product, you don't pay tax. But once you are taking that product outside that free trade zone, you will pay import duty. So today, these were the questions we asked when we were engaging government officials. We did extensive engagement. We were asking them, today Dangote Refinery is in a free trade zone. So when he imports anything from abroad, he doesn't pay tax. There are a lot of exceptions because of the fact that he's in a free trade zone. But now, if he's going to move his PMS into the Nigeria economy, was it supposed to pay tax, the import duty or not? Because this import duty is supposed to apply normally across board. So these were the questions we asked. So I think government finally realized that even the refinery that operates in a free trade zone, when you are bringing the product into the country, you are expected to pay import duty.
Well, you are thinking because you're not certain of it. But are you saying that the government did not have the facts of how much we consume before they decided to take a decision on this policy that was supposed to protect local production, local refining, and discourage importation? We have also heard from the Dangote refinery several times to say we can and we have enough for national dependency. We can produce and we are producing. In fact, we are going into expansion. So are you saying that the government of Nigeria did not know all of these facts before going into such a policy? And what does this policy flip-flop say? I mean, you've heard from the Nasima of Ogun State saying that this is discouraging. The government should not have suspended it.
We know clearly how it was approved. But you said we are not actually thinking. We engaged and we put the fact out there, as I have told you. I worked in a free trade zone for 2 years. So I understand the rules governing free trade zones.
But we are talking about...
no, hold on. Because the Dangote refinery is situated in the Lekki Free Trade Zone. So the laws are the same. We have the laws.
Yeah, but the question is about the capacity and daily consumption. And if
I will come to that. Initially,
because
you
we don't
talked
have
about
enough
thinking.
time, yes.
No, initially,
you said, I think that the government realized this.
Okay, it could be
what I'm referring to.
It is actually a reality of what is on ground. But coming to where we are today at Desua, for us, we doesn't really, the way we see it is that government listens, because again, even as government, you will not necessarily know everything. You are not omniscient and omnipotent. So when you decided to go about some certain policies and people come to make some certain arguments, I've listened to a lot of players in the industry. I've listened to NECA. We have listened to Nasima. We have listened to Manufacturing of Nigeria. We have listened to one of the best economists we have today in Nigeria, Bismarck Eliwani. But their argument, it's a bit, we faulted their argument. The reason we faulted the argument was basically because today, energy is not the same thing as sugar. It's not the same thing as cement. I can decide when tariffs are in cement and it doesn't favor me, I can decide to tarry my house building to next year. But energy is what I need on a daily basis.
Of course.
So as we have said, if our production locally today, because the data we rely on, there's a regulator in the industry.
That's the NMDPRO.
NMDPRO is a regulator. So the data from NMDPRO is very clear.
We need to go, but I need to ask you, today you raised the alarm over pension of those who work in the oil and gas sector. For many Nigerians, the oil and gas sector is seen as, the industry of those who have arrived, as we like to put it, the big and the mighty. So when you tell us that when they retire, they earn nothing, we didn't say they earn nothing. They receive little or nothing.
The point
what's the issue?
The issue is this. The issue is this. When the pension system was reformed in 2004, so there were companies that already have their pension systems. And 90% of these companies were in the oil and gas sector. So federal government through PENCOM, the National Pension Commission, gave them exemptions. So they had their own close pension for the administrator. They were not in the contributory pension. What that means is that they were not doing the Stanbic IBTC, the leadway pension and all that. So they have their own pension fund administrator within the oil and gas industry. Total Energies, Chevron, Shell, ExxonMobil, NNPC, and the like. So we have our own pension system in the industry. So what we have realized is that in some of these companies, for example, like Total Energies, the pensioners, every year, there are reviews, very positive one, for the earnings of the people that are working there. But we have some other companies, like the NNPC, for example, like the former NAOC, the former AGIP, for example, they don't. Without this inflation and devaluation, it doesn't reflect in their pension. So what we did today, We brought all the stakeholders. We brought the regulator, that is the PENCOM. We brought the retirees. We brought the HRO from the respective companies. And we brought the MDs of the closed pension fund administrator. We locked everybody in one room and we told ourselves the truth. That there is a best practice in the industry as exemplified by Total Energy's closed pension fund administrator. That because every year, when there are negotiations in the industry, is reflected in the pension, that others must imbibe this. Because 200,000 naira, 100,000 naira 15 years ago is not the same thing with 100,000 naira today. So our advocacy has been very, very clear. We are going to come up with a communique early next week where we are going to engage the managers of the oil and gas industry and the managers of the pension funds in the oil and gas industry to do the needful.
We watch out to see what you do next week.
Thank you so much.
And going forward from there. Festus Osifo is the president of PENGASSAN. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Adesuwa.